Hello students, how are you all? Hope you are staying at home and staying well. Now I'm here with another chapter from your science book, that is Matter and Material. This is chapter 4 and in this chapter we will learn about matter. So let's get started. We live in a beautiful world. Whatever you can see, you can feel or you can touch, that may be living or non-living, everything is matter. Whatever you can see, each and everything is matter. Matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Now, how will you understand the meaning of that thing has mass? See, this is a bowl. If I hold it, so I can feel that it has some weight. That means it has a mass. Now, it occupies space means, now if I take the example of this bottle, see the water inside the bottle is also matter, and you can see it has taken this much space in the bottle. That means water is also a matter. Not only the water, the bottle, the book, in fact you, me, everyone, we all are matter. Now, matter can be split into tiny particles known as molecules. The particles or molecules of matter of different substance exist in different patterns. According to the arrangement of the particles, matter exists in three states: solid, liquid and gases. In case of solid, the particles are very closely packed and the intermolecular force of attraction is very high. In case of liquid, the particles are loosely packed and the force of attraction is less than solid but greater than gases. In case of gases, the particles are distantly placed and the intermolecular force of attraction is very less. If we compare solid, liquid and gases, then we will see that solids, the particles are very closely packed as the force of attraction between the particle is very high. They are rigid, they cannot flow, they have a fixed shape and volume. They can be kept without a container. In case of liquid, the molecules are not that closely packed. The force of attraction between the particles is less in comparison to solid but more if we compare it with gases. They have fixed volume but they do not have fixed shape. They can flow and they must be kept in a container. Now, in case of gases, the molecules are distantly placed and the force of attraction is also less. They can flow, they do not have a fixed shape or volume. They are not rigid and they have to be kept in a container which is closely packed. Now, there are some basic processes such as heating or cooling by which we can change the state of matter. Let us start with freezing. Freezing is the process by which we can convert a liquid into a solid. Means if we lower the temperature, then the liquid will get converted into solid. Next, the solid can be converted into liquid by the process of melting. Melting is a process in which we apply heat. As we apply heat, the molecules of the solids start vibrating. As they vibrate and we keep on applying heat, they move away from each other and they get converted into liquid. Liquid can be converted into gases by applying more heat by the process of evaporation. If we apply heat to a liquid, then the molecules start moving with more velocity or with more speed and they move away from each other. Thus, they get converted into gases by the process of evaporation. Now, gases can also be converted into liquid by the process of condensation. If we reduce the temperature of gas, then it can be converted into liquid again. See, there is a simple basic idea behind it. If we apply temperature, then the particles will gain some energy and they will move rapidly. As they will move rapidly, they will collide with each other and they will move away from each other. Thus, they will change the state from solid to liquid, liquid to gas. Now, if we lower the temperature, then the particles will slow down and they will not move. So, the gases will then converted into liquid and liquid will be further converted into solid. Thus, by the process of freezing, we can convert liquid into solid. By the process of melting, we can convert solid into liquid. By the process of evaporation, we can convert liquid into gas, and by the process of condensation, we can convert gas into liquid. Now, there is one more process called sublimation, by which a solid can be directly converted into gas. If you want to know an example, then camphor, naphthalene. See, there are some naphthalene balls which your mother used to keep in the cupboard. But after few days, few months, you will find the naphthalene balls are reduced in size. Then what's happening? That those naphthalene balls are getting directly converted into naphthalene vapor from solid to gas. This process is called sublimation. Water exists in three states, that is solid, ice, liquid, water, and gas, water vapor. These states can be interchangeable. We have already discussed about the different process by which we can do it. See, if we take out ice is a solid form. From the refrigerator and keep it in the room temperature, then after some time that ice will get converted into water. That means that ice will gain the temperature from the atmosphere and it will get converted into liquid. Keep in mind the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. The water will again get converted into the ice will again get converted into water if it is kept below 0 degree Celsius. Now, if we take that water and we keep on boiling it, then we will find the water will get converted into gas. The boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Above 100 degrees Celsius, the water will get converted into water vapor. Now, water vapor, when it is cooled, it get condensed and it again forms liquid. That process is called condensation. And liquid can again be converted, liquid water can again be converted into ice by the process of freezing. Now, there are different ways by which you can examine these. Like, if you want to see evaporation, then whenever your mother is boiling something, water or tea, then tell her to close that container with a lid. After some time, if you take out the lid, you will see some water droplets on the lid. That shows the water is getting converted into water vapor. Now, in case of if you take out a water bottle from a refrigerator, then you will find there's a puddle of water along it. Means if you keep it in a table, after some time you will see there's a puddle of water. From where the water is coming? Don't think the water is coming out from the water bottle. See, water vapor is present in the atmosphere. When that water vapor comes in contact with the bottle, then it cools and that get condensed to form water. And this water, if you again keep it in the refrigerator, then it will get converted into solid, that is ice, by the process of freezing. Now we will study about the solubility of different substances in water. Before that, we must note some simple terms. See, when we dissolve something in water or we add something in water, then that thing is called solute. And where we are dissolving the solute, means in this case water, here this water is solvent. Means what we are dissolving is solute and where we are dissolving is solvent. When solute is dissolved in solvent, we get solution. For example, if we want to make lemonade, then we have to mix sugar, salt, lemon juice in water. In this case, sugar, salt and lemon juice are solute. And where we are mixing all this? In water. That means water here is solvent. When we have mixed the solute properly in water, that means the lemon juice, sugar and salt in water, we get lemonade, and that lemonade is solution. See, solids in this case, sugar and salt, these are solids. If you dissolve sugar in water, then you will see that if you stir it properly, after some time you can see no sugar particles in the water. So where that is going? We know that the particles of liquid have some spaces between them. And the sugar particles, when you dissolve it, they occupy that space, so we cannot see sugar particles there. See, by this discussion, one thing is clear, that if we dissolve something and after stirring it properly, if you cannot see that particles distinctively, then those solids are called soluble. Means when you're dissolving sugar or salt in water, then the sugar and the salt crystals you cannot see in that water. That means it has completely mixed in water. That means sugar and salt are soluble in water. Now, if you take chalk powder and if you try to dissolve it in water, then you can see the chalk particles. In the figure, if you see, then that will become a milky white solution. And if you keep that solution for some time, then you will find that a layer of chalk will be deposited at the bottom of the beaker. That means chalk cannot be dissolved in water. That means chalk is insoluble in water. Next one is solubility of liquid in water. See, again, if you want to make lemon squash, then what you have to do? You have to take water and you need to add their lemon squash or orange squash in it. That orange squash or lemon squash is liquid. When you add that in water and if you dissolve it, if you stir it properly, then you can see the color of the water may change, but it gets completely mixed in water. Now try the same thing with oil. Put some oil in water and stir it properly. What you will see? Will the oil mix with water? So this you will tell me in the comment section, that if you perform this, and you will say that oil gets mixed with water or not. See, the liquid which mixes with water is mixable liquid, and the liquids which do not mix with water are known as immiscible liquids. There are many plants and animals which lives in water. These are known as aquatic plants and animals. We know all the animals and plants need oxygen for photosynthesis and respiration in case of animals as well as plants. So, from where do they get oxygen? They get oxygen from the oxygen dissolved in water. That means gases can also be dissolved in water, and they release carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide also get dissolved in water. So gases can also be dissolved in water. We have come to the last part of the video. Now we will understand two simple terms, that is expansion and contraction. When we apply heat to a substance, then the particle of that substance gain energy and they start moving rapidly. When they start moving rapidly, they collide with each other and they move away from each other. If the particles moves away from each other, the matter or the substance will expand, means it will increase its size. And when a substance is cooled, then the particles loses energy and they come close to each other, and the space occupied by them get reduced. That means they contracts. So if we increase the temperature, the substance will expand, and if we decrease the temperature, the substance will contract. Now there is an easy example by which you can understand contraction. See, whenever your mother brings a new jam bottle or a sauce bottle, it is very hard to open. But there is a trick. If you heat the lid of the jam bottle for a few seconds or for a half of a minute, but that your mother will do for you, then after some time you will see you can easily open it. Why? The cap of the jam bottle is made up of a metal, and that is a matter, and if we apply heat, the particles will move away from each other. That means they will expand, and if the lid will expand, then we can easily open the bottle and we can eat the delicious jam. So students, hope you have understood the chapter, and please perform the simple activity of mixing oil with water, and please tell me what happens. Will you be able to mix water with oil? Yes or no? Please tell me. And till then, be at home, be safe, enjoy with your family. Bye.